Well, I remember going with my parents, my grandpa and my mom and my stepfather, to Peachland. That's the one that really stays in my mind. Trepanier and Deep Creek, because there's a lot of people that come from Penticton, from Vernon, Cairmews, other places. They're all camped there. They have tents and lean-tos made out of branches, and it's a regular village there for as long as the fish is running. And the men, they go out hunting, and the younger people, they go fishing, and maybe, should I start now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Start from where
Well, I remember that place being a regular village, like people living all together, women helping one another, and the men, they go out hunting, and the younger people, like the younger men, they go fishing, and the women dry the fish, and, well, there was, I don't know, when I was young, I guess we got salt, so some of them salt the fish. And when the husbands and fathers come back from the hills, if they have a deer, then all the women get together and dry the meat. It's more or less like gathering food for the winter, and they all help one another. Maybe there's a family that has no father, no hunter, so the men, they share what they get with this woman and her children. And the fish, I'll tell you, it was out of this world. Taste, I can still remember the taste when they cook it, even just barbecuing it or in front of the fire or boiling it. There is no taste that I can describe to you today that will tell you what it was like. Everything was clean, fresh smelling, tasty. Whereas nowadays I don't eat any more fish because it's soft and it's ugly. And that's the kikani, we call it kikani in Indian and kokani in English. That's what we get from Peachland, Deep Creek, and Trepanier. And then there's the other fishing ground that we go to in Woods Lake, and it's the same thing. People all go there and they set up camps. And that sockeye salmon is what they pull out of the lake. And they use gaff, and sometimes, very rarely, they use a net, because it's a lake and it's deep, and mostly it's gaffing. They do the same thing. They all help one another dry fish, salt for the winter. And that was our main food source, was dried deer meat and dry fish and salted fish, berries, dry berries, roots, some of the bitter root that we gather from the ground, and what do you call the Indian carrots, Indian potatoes. These are all gathered, dried, and put away, and that's what they used. My grandfather said that in his childhood days, they used to make a stew that was kind of bitter. It would be kind of hot, but that comes from all the roots that they gather, the berries that they dry and put in them with the meat. I used to ask him, how do you boil your meat and things? Before the Europeans came, we had no pots, like, to boil meat. He said they cut a chunk of, what do they call those trees with a leafy, cottonwood tree. They cut the trunk off, and they take the inside out with the bone axes that they have, and hollow it all out, and they burn the inside and wash it really good, and then they put the meat in there in some water, and then they heat the rocks. There's special kind of rocks that they pick up. They heat those and red hot, and they put it in the water, and that boils the water. They keep doing that until the food is cooked, and that's how they boil their things. And well, that's all I can remember from what he told me, what my grandfather told me.
Can you tell us what things you've seen that have changed since then?
I could stay here until next month of Tuesdays talking about the changes. Things have changed so badly that we all don't fish anymore. We don't do those things because we can't eat the fish because it's so contaminated and so badly contaminated that we can't. We even know that we can't eat that anymore. Even the deer, it's been a long time since my sons went hunting because it's no more good. You can tell by the texture of the meat. That has changed. Everything has changed.
Can you tell us what changes to the water, the creeks or the lake?
Well, the creeks and the lakes are so badly contaminated that you can't just go and drink from the creek or the lake like you used to. You take a handful of water from the lake and you can see with the naked eye the bugs that are in there, the contamination. And the creeks, you look at the rocks and see the discoloration in the rocks, and you know that it's badly contaminated. You either have to boil the water or get your drinking water from a treated water place.
So what do you think should be done?
The only thing that I can see that should be done to improve our water, our lakes and our creeks, is for people to move away from them. Wherever there's a lake or water, people tend to build their cities and towns, and everything that the waste that comes out of these cities and towns goes into the creeks and into the lake. And it's going to take that. It took them, let's say, from 1471 to today, to contaminate the waters, our waters and our hills and our place so badly that it took them that long to contaminate it and to spoil it. It's going to take that amount of time to clean up everything. So it's starting from now, maybe small. We might clean a creek at a time, but people have to move away from the creeks and from the water sources before we can do that. And they have to stop testing things up in the sky there, because the clouds form, they pick up all the bad stuff, and then they rain down on the earth, and that poisons our deer, poisons our living animals.
Okay, so what should the kids be learning today?
The kids today should be learning right from babyhood. The parents should be teaching them, most of all, the language. The parents have to learn the language, and they have to talk to their little ones right from birth, let's say, right from the crawling stage, and teach them how to respect things, other people's property, how to respect their mothers, their fathers, their grandmothers, their grandfathers, their aunts and uncles, cousins. They have to know who they are, who their families are, and learn to respect them. And that, in turn, will teach them how to respect the law, the teachers, and all their bosses, the business people. And then it goes on and on.